Hi, I'm Leapfrog.
Hello, my name is Logan Shaw. Welcome to Logan Story. Today we're talking about this next Black History highlight, Marcus Garvey. Thanks for coming. Let's get into it. Marcus Garvey, 1887 through 1940, was a Jamaican-born Pan-Africanist and a black nationalist who led mass movements for black people. He was a prominent figure in the development of black nationalism and the idea of black self-determination. So, he was a champion, started a lot of communities, and became widely recognized as a leader in terms of what his ideals were in the political science of America itself, and Jamaica itself, and wherever he was at in itself. But the thing is, when you're thinking about Marcus Garvey, he wasn't someone to really tamper with. I mean, he had his goals and he had his ideals set for himself. He ended up making a lot of financial and economical reaches towards his community, the entire community, how to get there. But just because of that, it doesn't mean anything in particular. And when you're thinking about such a thing like that, it only leads into this question. What are the next queries about this? How can we see Marcus Garvey as a real component of black history? Well, let's go into detail. So, Marcus Garvey ended up being one of the biggest names in, economical and committee based entities. He ended up making two committees that had him reach to political stardom. And because of that, there's a lot of things that he did that affected black people as a whole. A lot of things that was disagreeable in a sense, like his support for the KKK. But despite that, Marcus Garvey ended up being one of the biggest things you could talk about in terms of political and black history. And when you're talking about black history highlight, that's all this is gotta be. The truthful facts about a man and his whereabouts and what we hold true about the American spirit. And he did hold it true. He became the biggest man in his social party. And because of that, there's no other way to put it than this. When you have a man, when you have success, and you have joy, those are what make the American dream. And to some degree, he kind of got there. He died in 1940, but he left legacies known to people all over the world. And because of his success, he left a big mark on black history. And because of that, some people know him, some people don't. But I think we should take this away. You are the master of what you do. So how do you do it precisely? His beautiful baby. His beautiful baby was to be a leader, a successor in terms of what he has to hold, in terms of economic and political power. And because of that, there's nothing more to say than what could be said. His beautiful baby was to lead. In terms of Harlem, in terms of Wall Street, in terms of what he was set out to do. He had a goal. He had a goal to get to, and he got there pretty fast. Because of that, there's no other way to put it than this. The spark that comes from Marcus Garvey was electrified through the city of New York, and was electrified through the city of New England, and was electrified through the city of Jamaica. And because of that, he ended up being one of the biggest things we know now to man. As one of the biggest things we know now to American culture. One of the biggest things we know now to discover him in terms of his, not well known status, in terms of African American culture. And here's the thing, we can understand who he is through the things he's done and the things in his past if we just take a time to read. Application, of course. Okay, so when it all comes down to it, what are you doing to lead? What are you doing to make sure you're leading in the right way? What do you think is going to happen to you in the next few years that'll make it so that you are actually an important factor about, anything that's come to be? Well, here's the thing. It's not easy to become a leader. It's not easy to become something that realistically ends up being, hard to grasp at some point. Because when you grasp it, it could hurt. Whatever you choose to lead, lead it with dignity, lead it with pride, and lead it with a sense of knowing that you are part of a huge calling to be an economic leader, just like Marcus Garvey. And what can you do to take it away? Well, what are your steps in terms of making sure that you can get to the point of Marcus Garvey? What is the joy that ends up being at the end of the day? How are you making sure that you're economically and politically and, well, financially sound? So, what are your big accomplishments? And how can you be sure that your accomplishments will overweigh a lot of things? Thank you for this application. Let's close out. Thank you for coming along to the store. Thank you for coming to this Black History highlight. There will be more highlights in the future, so keep an eye out for those. Also, the mission is 1,000 subscribers. You guys know when we get there, by hitting the share, like, and subscribe button right on the screen. Also, by hitting that bell. Leave a comment if you can too. Thank you again, and peace.